Well, news organizations continue to try to piece together what President Trump knew and when he knew it about the reported Russian bounty plot. Multiple organizations independently reported over the weekend that the U.S. has gathered intelligence that Russian intelligence officers have offered to pay bounties to Taliban fighters who kill Americans. In the latest developments, two officials familiar with the matter tell the New York Times that American officials provided a written briefing in late February to President Trump, laying out their conclusions on the Russian bounty plot. The officials say that the investigation has focused in part on an April 2019 car bombing that killed 3 Marines as one such potential attack. The Times also notes that the intelligence assessment was deemed credible enough to be widely circulated by the CIA's World Intelligence Review in a May 4th classified summary. Meanwhile, the Associated Press reports that top officials in the White House were aware in early 2019 of the plot, 2019, a full year earlier than has been previously reported, according to U.S. officials with direct knowledge of the intelligence. The AP reports that the assessment was included in at least one of Trump's written daily intelligence briefings at the time, and also says that then National Security Advisor John Bolton told colleagues he briefed Trump on the intelligence assessment in March of 2019. All of this latest reporting from multiple news organizations, along with recent statements by intelligence chiefs, as well as several congressional Republicans, does not dovetail with President Trump's Sunday night tweet that the intel agencies, quote, did not find this information credible. The latest reporting clearly shows the U.S. received credible tactical reports, as the CIA director has called them, and is now trying to vet and corroborate that information. Information that, as we told you yesterday, was significant enough to pass along to the British government, which NBC News reports finds convincing. The only disagreement within the U.S. intel community appears to be the strength of the intelligence and what it means.
But Willie, you know, the thing is, again, we've been through this. You look at all of the reporting, you piece it together, and there's some things that the White House is not denying. That the CIA knew about this, the CIA station chief knew about this. It was widely known that Russia was putting bounties on the heads of young American troops. That was widely known. It was widely known within the CIA. It was widely known that they put out that May 4th briefing and didn't say, well, we're not sure whether this is good information or not. As Richard Haass told us yesterday, when the National Security Council had a meeting in late March to talk about this and talk about the different approaches they were taking, as Richard says, the National Security Council, they aren't referees for intel. By the time it gets to them, it's good intel. When you put it on a presidential daily briefing, there's no question about the quality of the intel. So the White House is pushing 2 lies right now. The first lie is that the president's not been briefed on this. That's a lie. And then, of course, you have Donald Trump's Helsinki lie again, that the intelligence agency is fake news, which is fascinating because you just wouldn't believe, Willie. I'm so glad you're here today. I'm going to give you some shocking information. Guess who else is saying that the intelligence community's information on Russia trying to kill our troops is fake news? Guess who's using the same language as Donald Trump?
I think we just saw him in a photograph, and I think his people called it BS in a more descriptive term. Yes.
BS, and using the same language in tweets. Donald Trump is parroting Vladimir Putin and Vladimir Putin's propaganda chiefs. So here we are again with Donald Trump taking the word of an ex-KGB officer who said the collapse of Soviet communism was the greatest tragedy in the 20th century. He's taking Vladimir Putin's words over the words of his own intel chiefs. Willie, that's where we still are. in late 2020, and it doesn't matter to him that young American troops have had bounties put on their heads, and that the intelligence community has known about this now since 2019, and they were pushing the White House to do something in March of 2020.
Yeah, it's bad enough the initial reports have said it was March of this year, and now the AP is reporting last night that in March of 2019, the president was briefed in the president's daily briefing about this attempt by the Russian intelligence services to use Taliban-linked militants to kill American troops.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.